Hello and welcome to the Gamers Table. It is Monday, and we should really call this the Losers Table right now. We're reviewing The Witches.
Referring to the game, yes.
It's like Ghost Stories, but it's not a cooperative game. Well,
No.
There's a cooperative variant, but we may as well have been playing it because...
Yeah, we were kind of working together anyway.
3 times.
Even though we were trying to get the most points. We haven't won this game yet.
The Witches is a game for 1 to 4 players and should take around 90 minutes. Please do not be daunted by the number of pages of rules in the game. The game itself is not too complicated, but there are a number of situations that may occur where the rules have to be clearly expressed, which leads to additional pages.
Yes, basically some of the stuff you're going to have to be looking up again are the consequences for failing a lot of the purple hazards.
The difficult problems. Let's have a look at some of these components.
Okay.
You got our cards, you got your player boards, you got your green problems, which are the easy ones, the purple problems, which are the more difficult ones, your player pawns, which is hats,
The rulebook and the player aid.
and the board.
Dice,
Character special abilities or special tokens.
cackle cards, Black Alice cards.
Well, tokens.
Tokens, yes.
Okay.
The theme doesn't come through as strongly as it does on Discworld.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you don't need to know...
much more pork.
Yeah.
Discworld looked more pork, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to know any of that to play the game, but it doesn't come through as strongly. So, I mean, it's there on the cards, and you say, oh yeah, I remember that character, I remember this character from it, but what the cards do doesn't reflect the books the way it does in the other game.
And he's read the book, so yeah, I don't know. I've never read them, but yeah, I felt that it didn't quite come through as well either.
I felt like I was playing a cooperative game, and we failed.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like even in the competitive, you're going for the most points at the end of the game once you've got all the, problem tiles on the board. But if the 3 elves come out, elven characters or whatever problems, are on the board at the end of any player's turn, then yes, you lose, nobody gets any points. If all of the, complicated, what do you call them? Complication
Yep.
crisis tiles come out, or you can't draw anymore, then you also lose and nobody gets any individual points.
If you get rid of all of the problem tiles, as soon as the last one goes out, then you stop and you check, and the guy who's got the highest points wins the game.
We got there yet.
No, the game's beat us every time. Okay, so you start by laying out the board and dealing out the purple difficult problems to all these squares on the board that have purples face down. Then a number of them based on the number of players in the problem area here. Then you do the same thing with the green ones. Put them 1 in each section.
Then showing one.
Face up.
The problem distribution stack.
And then put some here based on the number of players. Then you roll the dice. Everybody rolls the dice. And the highest number gets to choose first because each one of the player boards has a different power to it.
They're all fairly weak and inconsequential
Yeah,
for the most part.
They're just enough to differentiate, so we're doing different. So you don't say, I don't always want to play blue. No, I want to play green this time because it has a different power. I want to try that one. Yeah. And the person who gets to select first also will get to put their witch pawn on the board first, and then in clockwise order, you'll all put them on. And then goes through the incredibly simple gameplay. You'll start by flipping the cards. Why?
Because it brings out more problems.
Yeah, another problem gets put out every turn. But this is where we're running into the problems. The real problems. Because they're not winning the game problems. Anytime you flip up a card and it reveals a location that's already a problem, then you take one of your crisis tokens because the problem's just getting a little bit worse. You lose the entire game when you need to place one of these and there's none to place. And that happened in all 3 games. But anyways, once you get to a location there is no problem, you place a new problem there from your stack of problems left to right.
And that's where it ends there.
And that's where it goes. And then...
So you get 2 movement. But once you hit another witch, or stop in a spot, or get to a spot where there's another witch, you have to stop there. And you can do what they call tea time. So if you have any of the cackle tiles, which you get from rolling dice, there's a little witch on there, you draw a cackle tile for every one of those you roll.
Or from
or if you get them from cards, or whatever.
Or failing.
So you can get rid of 3 if you're the one that moved in there. And all the other witches in that spot can get rid of 2. That's the way you get rid of your cackle tiles. Otherwise you don't want to be... If they're all gone and you need to draw another one, you'll probably end up getting one of these, and these are negative victory points at the end of the game. If we finish the freaking game.
What happens if you
So-
move into a problem?
If you move into a problem, you also stop, and you have to try and complete that or solve that problem. And
Now, that is movement if you choose to go on foot, following
Yes.
the paths. Your other option is to play a card that has the broomstick up top, and from there you may go to any location on the board. Which means, if you had a brain in your head, you would use this to go immediately to where there are the big problems to try and clear them off. We keep walking. Walking
I
bad.
don't think
well,
it
if you got a
matters.
chain, it doesn't really matter. If you're clearing a problem off the board, you're getting
You're
points, victory
helping
points,
the
and you're
cause.
helping. But anyway, that your movement is considered 2 actions. So if you move somewhere, you could say you got cards in here. One's called invisibility. If you look at the purple one, you don't show the other players. If you don't think you can pass that, you can put it back. Use your invisibility card. Pass through that and go to the next spot if there's a problem or an empty spot there. Or say you can, on that second movement you could use the broomstick, and then you could fly anywhere else on the board. But if you land on a problem, you're going to have to try and solve it.
If you fail solving the problem, well, how about we
Go through a problem.
Go through a problem.
Go ahead.
So,
Create a problem, Chris.
create a problem. I'm good at that. So the problem is death. It's worth 3 victory points. It's a difficulty of 12.
Death is always a problem.
So, usually most of the time you just roll 2 dice.
Uh-oh.
So I got a cackle symbol, which kind of sucks. It has no value, and a 5. So I got 5 out of the 12 I need.
And you get the cat ball.
So now I have an option to play cards in my hand. If I play a card with the funny glasses symbol, it's worth 1 pip.
The headology symbol.
If I play the one with 2 stars, the magic, I get 2 pips.
But you also get a cackle.
Oh no, not the cackle.
But in that particular situation, now you're at 8.
So now I'm at 8. So now I roll the second pair of dice. Now, if I roll the second pair of dice, I forfeit the chance of playing the symbols to add onto the value. So then I roll those. I got a 9. So huzzah! I solved death. And it gets added to my player board. On your player board, you solve 2 easy problems. You get your hand limit up. If you solve 2 difficult problems, you get a +1 towards solving all problems.
Now you get to re-roll cards as well. Now if he had rolled, say, the cackle or a very low roll or something like that, he could re-roll those, use the card, re-roll the dice. But once he's re-rolled them, that's it.
Well, unless you have another.
Well, if you got another re-roll, but then you don't get the cackle. But if you got it on the second roll, you would take the cackle unless you got another re-roll card. But anyway, once you played your cards and moved on to the second set of dice, those first 2 cannot be re-rolled anymore. But you can use more re-roll cards to re-roll the second pair of dice.
So if you fail, well, actually, after you roll the first dice, you also have the option to choose, I screwed this. You can choose to just run away.
Yeah.
Yes.
Forget it, not doing it, I'm leaving. But if you go all the way through and don't make it, you fail, which is going to give you a cackle and force you to retreat to another connected location
Empty.
that has no other witch in it and no problem in it. If you can't do that, have another cackle.
Woohoo!
But then you can go to any empty location on the board.
So what's the big deal about these cackles anyways?
Okay, so if you need to take a cackle and you can't, you need to take one from another player who has them, whoever's got the highest amount. If you happen to be the person who has the highest amount, you just take one of the Black Alice tokens, which is a -1 victory point at the end of the game. For the Project fans, if you remember, Black Alice was Granny Weatherwax's sister who went to the dark side of magic. So that's where the name comes
I'm
from.
nodding my head, but I've never met them.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Yes.
Yes.
Trust the Craig.
So, and after that, you draw back up to whatever your hand size is, and it goes on to the next guy. That's
So-
all there is to it.
It's a base 3 and 1 for every pair of easy problems you've solved.
Now, there is one other bit in the cards that's neat. All the different witches in the game, Granny Weatherwax, Nanny Og, Magrat, or Perdita, all those witches have on the bottom the power of 3. Any 3 different characters can be played to automatically solve any problem.
If they say the power of 3 on the one.
Yes. 3 different ones though, but you can't go Granny Weatherwax, Nanny Og. No, it's no good. You have to have 3 different ones. And they're all labeled that if they have the power of 3, which is kind of nice. Because some of the purple ones require like 20-something on your rolls to pass them.
So yeah, and if you're using the symbols on the top of the cards between your dice rolls, you're not using the text on them, you're discarding them there. So, but if you're using the text, you're not going to want to use them for the symbols on the top, and then you would use them at the appropriate time.
Make sure you read the whole card.
Wrapping up for the witches.
I don't think we missed anything, did we?
No.
No, I think we're pretty damn thorough.
The theme. I mean, it's all the stuff is there. It all relates to Pratchett's World, but unfortunately, it's a little disconnected from the game. You don't need to do any of it, and you don't experience any of it while you're playing the game. It's just there's a problem in this area. Okay, I know where that area is. I read about it, but it doesn't really connect. Easy to play. It doesn't seem it when you start looking at this book. It seems like, wow, there's a lot of stuff, and I'm into page 7, and they're still explaining how to play the game. But after you get past that, no, it is really simple to play. Fun to play. Yeah, it is, especially while you're watching one of the other guys pull out the cards and keep putting more crisis and more crisis and more crisis. You're ruining the game for everyone. Stop it!
Ken?
That's unavoidable, and that's not the player. That's the game doing it.
Yes, I know, but it's still fun because it builds up the tension for everybody. When it's, oh no, man, we're one away.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it sort of brings out a little of that cooperative aspect, which is always cool in a game. I gave The Witches a 7.5. I mean, y'all know my favorite game is. It's Arkham Horror, and this is really Arkham Light. This game can go on for the full stretch, or 5 minutes in, the whole base lose. Sorry, we all lost. There's just no great old one to fight to make you feel better. Sorry, you just lost.
It's, okay, like Craig said, it'd be a little daunting to look at a rule book. It's always, you see that and you see multiple pages. But it is right, it's pretty simple to play. Most of the looking back into the rule book are what ifs or consequences of failing the more difficult problems on the board here. The thing, I enjoy the game. Like you said, it doesn't really tie in with the books too much, and you can feel that by not having read the rule books. Not the rule books, the novels much at all, or at all. But the problem comes down to drawing out the locations and then placing these things again. So if you cannot draw any more of these, you lose the game. And
not just you, everybody.
It can happen all in a row. You can just happen to draw those locations that already have problems or already have the tokens out there, and you don't have a choice. It's like boom, 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 boom. In the last game we played, I got all the blame, but it wasn't anything I did. It was just the game mechanics bringing them all out. I'm going to give this one a 7.5, mainly just because the mechanics can screw you even in a competitive game where we're all competing for points, which is basically just drawing the locations and putting out the tokens, and once you can't draw anymore, you've lost. So even in a competitive game, that kind of is annoying. But it got fairly close, but one game was just total. We had no chance. I can't imagine the cooperative being any better because you're taking more tokens out. That sucks. But at the components, everything looks great. Just like the other two games, everything looks fantastic. The components are nice quality, the artwork, and there's some nice humor in the cards and stuff, but it's not nearly as much as Ankh-Morpork or anything like that, because most of the text on it is just mechanics, re-roll, do this. So it doesn't have quite as the same amount of humor in it as Ankh-Morpork or anything.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat pretty much what they said. This feels like a cooperative game because of the difficulty of it. It was fun. I enjoyed playing it. It's just a little frustrating when you're not playing the cooperative variant, which makes it even harder. I give The Witches a 6. It is a very fun game. I think it's a little broken on how difficult it is during the competitive version of it. I mean, there's a cooperative variant you can play where you take even more of the crisis tokens out, and I'm not sure why you would do that. It shouldn't be so hard in the competitive game. Someone should win.
That's it for this episode of the Gamers Table. Tune in next time where we review another game.
Yes, because that's what we do.
After we play this game and somebody wins.
Yes,
Yeah.
somebody's got to win eventually. Come on.